Today's video might be a little bit petty, but I really just want to talk about like some packaging and some packaging that I absolutely hate and drives me bananas, and some packaging that I love. Because I'm using these products every day, multiple times a day, all the time. I get sort of frustrated with certain ones because I'm just like, why? If you just had this one thing, you'd be perfect. If you just did this one thing, you'd be perfect. And I'm not talking about the product themselves. All of these products I'm talking about, I adore. So I am going to continue using all of these products because I adore them. I'm just talking about the way all the products are held, all of their little components that keep all the goo inside. That's what's driving me bananas. Something about it. I got my, oh, we match. So I'm going to start with, well, this, I don't know. Maybe they're all strange. I'm not sure if this is what I'm starting with. Pigments. Love me some pigments. Chrome, just regular, whatever, neon, just pigments. I love them. You could do so much with them. They're so versatile. Oh, they create such great looks. My issue is because I'm klutzy and a disaster, is that when they're just, I'm scared. When they're just like big open tub, okay, it's not big. When they're just open tubs like this, the anxiety inside of me, because I have knocked over enough pigments to know it's a problem of mine. But I recently got this silver violet pigment from Mosaic from AR Nail Supply, and there is a, okay, well, it's full of pigment right now. Can I sift it down? There is a flippin' sifter in here. So even if I do spill it, I'm only losing what's sitting in the top of it and not necessarily what's underneath. I mean, I'm gonna lose some, but it's not as like, I'm not gonna lose the entire jar potentially. I freaking love that there's a sifter in this. I would love for all pigments of all kinds to have little sifters in them. Next, oh, some of these are just like generalizations, like the sifter thing, just brands just put sifters in your pigments. And some are like more specific to brands and like irritating things that brands do with their packaging. We'll get into it. So the next one is just metallic packaging. So another general one. Metallic packaging. So some are just lids and some are more like the whole thing is metallic. Another lid. They get nasty, especially using gel products. Like gel is just sticky. It's a sticky product. And I'm using gloves to stop it from getting on my hands. So I may not realize that I have residue on my gloves when I go to open a new container, and then I have now put that residue on a metallic lid. And they're not necessarily the easiest to keep clean because just, residue on your gloves, dust, which is an incredibly common thing. They look so pretty when they're brand new and they're all on display with their metallic lids and bottles and whatever. And then you actually use them, but now they look awful. And I don't want to keep this on display. I don't know if you can hear those dogs, but it is absurd. I know that brands do this because it's aesthetic and it's pretty and it looks good on a shelf. But does it look good on a shelf? I don't know about all the other nail techs out there using bottles with metallic lids or just metallic bottles. Are you cleaning them every single day? Like I wipe them down. Like if I use it, I'm like, okay, I'll give it a wipe down. But are you actually cleaning them and removing all of that residue and fingerprints? Even if you're not wearing gloves, which you should be wearing gloves, but even if you're not wearing gloves, the fingerprints are absurd. Like, are you actually cleaning off the fingerprints on every single lid that you're using on display? Oi, how do you have the time? I mean, I have the time and I don't even want to do it. Let me show you what I like instead. So I just have two examples here. I know they're not fancy, but there's a Fusion bottle and a Magic Gel bottle. And so the Fusion one has just a regular glossy lid. The entire packaging is just black packaging. I do love the matte black lid though. One, it's easy to open. It makes it so much easier to open because it's actually rubberized, so it's not slippery. And if your bottle, you know how they stick a little bit, gives you something to torque. I also love it because it's not showing fingerprints. It's not showing residue. It's functional for a messy nail tech. So I would take a basic packaging over a metallic packaging any day, but ideally I love a matte black packaging when it comes to gel products. I also think it adds an elegantness to it without it being like the chromy gold bottles, right? You know what I mean? Next, lidless brushes. Why? Please tell me why these exist. And if you like lidless brushes, please explain why. Oh, side note, I'm not trashing anybody's opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, especially when it comes to products like this. Like, please, if this is the time anybody's entitled to an opinion, it's when we're discussing crap like this, okay? This is not serious. It's just for fun. That aside, let's get back to our lidless brushes, shall we? I hate lidless brushes. Why do brands create them? Every single lidless brush I've ever gotten has turned into a crusty, dusty, fluffy mess. Now, yes, it's true that it could very well be my fault in not storing them properly or taking care of them properly. I like to think I take care of my brushes relatively well, but not lidless ones. Every single time. And here's the other thing. I have been taught to store my brushes upside down. So that way, whatever product you're using does not slowly leak into the ferrules and then render them broken and useless or have all of the hairs fall out. Because while
I know you should not be using acetone on your brushes.
it happens sometimes, I just use acetone on my brushes accidentally sometimes. Sometimes on purpose, sometimes. So how am I supposed to store a lidless brush upside down? So I don't want to store it this way because now I'm like, who knows what's getting into the ferrules of the brush? I store them all in a little thingy like this, so then they're flat instead of being upright, right? So then at least if something is going to leak into the ferrules, it's not as extreme. But let me tell you the downside to this. They roll around with each other, touching each other, getting all dusty, getting all crusty, and you end up with wonkadonk brushes that are useless, except for applying glitters and pigments and things like that. Old brushes are excellent for certain nail art techniques or blending out alcohol inks. Ooh, baby. But as for any like detailed application, no. Even honestly, I would be fine with brands just, here's a brush. If you want the lid, buy it separately, but like make all your brushes the same size so that I don't have to buy 18 different lids to fit every different brush. Am I asking too much? Probably. Here are two of my favorite brushes with lids. The Ugly Duckling, well, any of the Ugly Duckling brushes, honestly, I love them. But specifically, the Detailer 2 brush is actually one of my favorite brushes in the entire world. I use it for everything. I use it, sorry, I felt like Stefan for a second.
And this place has everything. Soda, purple stuff, Sunny D. A VIP room for football jellyfish.
Oh, I'm sorry, what's a football jellyfish?
It's that thing when NFL players have the helmet, but with the skinny dreads hanging out.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can use it for getting right into the sidewalls and the cuticles when I'm doing a builder in a bottle application. I use it for nail art, for stripes, for detailed specific nail art, or for chunky line nail art. I use it for everything. Everything. I absolutely love it. And it comes with a lid. Some of my other favorite brushes that come with lids are the Fusion brushes. So they're meant for just their like core gel line, I believe. And they come, I think I've spoken about these before on this channel in the past, but they come with different crystals in the base of the brush so that you can tell them apart when they're upside down. So you've got a black solid one for colors. You've got a crystal and black one for sparkles. And then somewhere I have a crystal one for clear. So I'm not cross-contaminating my sparkles and colors and clear, because you know if you get a sparkle in your brush, it's going on to your next set. No doubt about it. So other than just like the brush, like the actual brush heads themselves, which I absolutely adore. They're nice and thin and they just move the product around perfectly. You can float, you can paint, perfect. The idea that they have the different colors on them so you can tell the difference of them when they're upside down, which is exactly what I need and exactly how a brush should be designed with a lid. And so you can tell them apart without having to go, because that is one thing that I don't like about the Ugly Duckling brushes is they look the exact same. Freaking brilliant. Freaking brilliant. Next, now we're getting a little bit more specific to the brands. And I just want to say that this is no shade. Okay, well, maybe a little bit of shade because I am discussing how I don't like the packaging. But like, I love these brands. I love the products that they produce and I use them all the time. And I talk about them all the time. So this is not like, this is not a situation of me telling you not to use these products, not to buy these products, that these products are no good. This is just me venting about packaging that irritates me. And one of those things is the Glitterbell gel polish / builder in a bottle bottles and top coats. And primers. They all look the exact same. And I spend so much time. No, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. I'm gonna show you my shelf of the Glitterbells that I have out. Tell me it wouldn't frustrate you. Tell me you wouldn't look at that and go, what the fuck? How am I supposed to know what to choose without literally putting my face in the shelf? Listen, it looks fantastic. My clients come in and go, oh, that looks great. Obviously, like builder in a bottles and top coats and stuff, that's slightly different. You can only do so much with a clear product. But this is all that I have to work with on the Glitterbells gel polishes. This teeny little heart. And when this is in a shelf, I cannot see these little hearts. These little window hearts, I can't see them on my shelf. So I have to actually look, lift them up and look every single time. Now listen, I know what you're thinking or screaming at the screen right now. Just put a little swatch on the top or get those little nail rings to put on it. Yes, I can do that. I have swatched this swatch on the top. I don't like the way they look. I don't like it. And I know you can get those little swatch stickers on the top too to put on the top. I also don't like the way those look. And I'm not going to lie to you. I rarely take the time to swatch the top of my bottle. Oh, and as for those little rings, those little swatch rings that you could put on, yes, you can. But they are so flippin' annoying to actually apply the product with, at least for me. I find that I'm fiddling with it and trying to get it out of my way, and then I'll just take it off the brush, like I'll take it off the bottle to use the product, and then I forget to put it back on the product, and then I lose the swatch ring. So, and this is where it gets a little bit petty. I'm paying for this product. Why can't you just make it easy for me to use? And listen, the product inside is beautiful. The product inside is easy to use. But I'm not going to use the beautiful product inside if I don't remember that this exists. If I can't see it, I won't use it. So unfortunately, a lot of my Glitterbells gel polishes are only getting used when I am looking through, or when my clients, I should say, are looking through the swatch ring and are like, oh, I want this. And I'm like, what the heck? Oh yeah, that's this one. And then I have to go, there we go, and put it on. Or if I'm doing something for content and I'm like, oh, I need this color, I need something like this, I need something, I'll go through my drawers and all the things that are easy to access and easy to look at without having to like open the bottle or look through this teeny little bottom window. I'll go through all those items first before I look at my Glitterbells shelf. Simply because it's irritating. And I forget about it. Because I'm not just looking up and being like, oh, that blue, that's the one I want. But what is super flippin' awesome are when brands do something like this. Some brands, like Madame Glam here, do the front label and the top of the jar. So if it is sitting on a shelf, you've got color. If it is sitting in a drawer, you've got color. And the nice thing about this color on the top too, is that it actually, like, you can see it down the side. So if your storage shelving unit happens to cover the majority of the front label, you can still see it at the top. So I definitely love having both options, but truly, even when brands just do the little cap at the top, I am here for it. I love it. I love that brands have started doing this. So pretty to look at on a shelf. Ooh, so pretty. Do that more, please, brands. I believe Magic Gel does it too. Unfortunately, I only have their clear items right now. That was my rant about the Glitterbells gel polish line. There is one more Glitterbells thing that I need to rant about though. And again, this is not any hate towards Glitterbells. I just got messy. I love their products. The inside of Glitterbells is fantastic. The packaging is frustrating to me. And that's what this video is about, my opinions. So I need to rant about the unbelievable gel jars. And this is kind of what inspired this video, that and the polished bottles. There are three main things that drive me banana sandwiches with the unbelievable gels. The first is, again, it's the same problem that I have with the polishes, is that all of the tops look the same. They're all just gold tops. They all look the exact same. All of the fronts, hold on, let me turn it around. All of the fronts look the exact same. So if this is sitting on a shelf, this is what I'm seeing. If it's sitting in my drawer, this is what I'm seeing. I do not have the patience or time to flip over or open every jar to figure out what color I want to use. That's absurd. So I know a lot of people, again, use those little swatch bubble stickers to put them on top of this. I consider that. I don't like the way it looks, and I like that these are stackable if I want them to be stackable. As soon as I put one of those little sticker bubbles on it, I can't stack it anymore. Do I ever stack them this way? Rarely. But sometimes I do, especially when I'm cleaning up. And I also just don't like the way they look with the little swatch bubbles on top. I ended up doing, and I saw this on Instagram, I think, somewhere. I cannot remember who originally posted about it. But what I did was I took the bottom label, had like a double layer to it. It had the color portion to it and then a whole bunch underneath it. So I just took the color part of the sticker, cut it off, and stuck it on the top so that it all just looks like this. It's not making the top like three-dimensional or anything, so I can still stack them for the 3 times a year that I do. And I can see what the color's name is, so when somebody picks it out from a swatch and I see the name on the swatch, it's right there. I don't have to turn the bottle around. And I can see the color that it's supposed to be. These aren't exact replicas of the color, but it's close enough to know what I'm looking for. So that's great that I was able to do that, but it's irritating that I had to do it. What would be awesome is if Glitterbels just started making the tops of their unbelievable gels like that. Put whatever labeling you need to put on the bottom, and then put the color on the top, the color name and color on the top lid. Be awesome if the lids weren't metallic, but this would be even better. Number 1, that's the first thing that irritates me about this product, about this packaging. Not the product's fantastic. It's the packaging. Number 2, I don't consider myself to be abnormally strong. In fact, I don't consider myself to even be normally strong. I'm a weak person, physically, mentally, emotionally. I'm weak. If you close these jars too hard, the threads break and you end up with this disaster situation that it no longer will ever seal properly again. Any color you end up with on the lid is now going to get into the threads and onto what little threads there are left and onto the bottle because there's no seal anymore. And this is, so like I can kind of close it. So this is one I don't use very often. Let me show you the black. So the same thing happened. I closed it too tight and the threads broke. And I use this pretty much every single day. Oh, normally it sticks to the lid. Like that. So this little pot inside of this is what's full of your product. Once the threads break and crack that hold the lid to the jar, whatever was holding this little pot inside of the jar is also gone. So now it just wants to float around on its own. And when you as you move it around and use it, more plastic from the broken threads comes off the jar. So pretty much every time I open this, I get a little plastic piece full of black gel on my desk somewhere. Every time. I also have to do like fun little maneuvers to get this open without the lid suctioning the product to it. So that's annoyance number 2 with this product is, well, it's just not good. The packaging, it shouldn't break that easily. And on 2, like now I have to be very cautious about turning them. And I think, you know what happens? How sometimes when you're using gel, if a little bit gets into the thread, you get that like little bounce back sometimes where you don't get that nice tight seal. It's like a little bounce back. I think that's what happened. And in an attempt to just seal it, I just turned it too tightly. But again, I'm not strong. My husband would break these just closing them normally. He just closes jars tightly. And I think he would just break these just naturally how he closes jars. So I don't know, man. I think something needs to be done about this because this is a little bit unacceptable for the price that you're paying for these. And again, I love the product inside. The product inside is amazing. But how much am I paying in Canadian? Like 20 bucks or something? I honestly don't remember how much I was paying in Canadian, but it's a little annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. And the third thing that bothers me a lot with this packaging, and I bet you can guess, something tells me you already said it when I pulled this out when the lid stuck to it. Why is the actual pot of product so flippin' tiny and you're putting it inside this? Why? This is the equivalent of a Fusion paint or just their color gels. That's the equivalent size. Why does it need to be in such a large pot? Here's what's irritating about it. Firstly, are we not in an era or in an age where we're trying to reduce the amount of plastic we're using and just like things like that? So can we just get these in the actual size that they are instead of putting a pot in a pot of plastic? Can we just get this pot properly sealed with a label on it and a lid instead of this extra stuff? Slash, if you're not going to do that, can we get jars that don't crack? And then also, can we just get refills of these little white pots, right? Just send me the white pot with like a tin foil film over it and I can just pop it back in here. And then we don't have to reproduce this. Blacks and whites, are you kidding me? If you just, any brand listening to this, if you sell pots like this, offer somehow refills of blacks and whites. I'm telling you, it will change the game. At least I think it will. What was I reading? Oh, right. Okay, so the size of this. So yes, we're putting plastic in plastic that's bigger. Why? Also, most nail techs I know don't have the extra storage space. That extra thickness could easily be a whole other color. These are taking up so much space in my drawer. And then once I realized it's a teeny little pot, the same size as the Fusion ones, I was like, why? I don't have the space. I don't have the space for this extra packaging. I just want the goo held securely in a package that's not metallic. And that's properly labeled so I can see it whether it's on a shelf or in a drawer. And that's all I want. Storing things is a struggle. So that's all of the packaging that drives me banana sandwiches. That makes me love the product inside of it, hate the packaging. Do you agree with my packaging woes? Do you disagree? Let me know down below. What's some packaging you absolutely despise? It doesn't have to be nail related. Just let me know of some packaging you absolutely despise in your kitchen, makeup, skincare. I don't care. Let me know. Let me know the packaging you despise. I want to feel less petty. Or at least make everyone else as petty as me. And don't forget to like this video if you liked this video. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!